What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the NerdyMark channel. I am Sid the NerdyMark, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. As you can see, the setup is a bit different. My camera is a little smaller. My face is a little smaller. I have been, working out and stuff, but also because of the camera. But also, as you can see down here, we have a little. I'm sharing my computer screen right now. So when I first started this channel, the first movie that I reviewed, the first video that I ever did was a review for 2018's Black Panther. Since then, I have been always trying to devise different ways of trying to give you guys my thoughts on some of the older Marvel movies, kind of just so I can kind of, say that I've touched on all of them, kind of being the completionist that I am, which kind of also we will find out later in this video that I'm kind of a big hypocrite by saying that. Anyway, why are you discrediting yourself? Why am I discrediting myself? I don't know. Well, you'll find out why. But so today I thought, I actually saw an idea from some other YouTubers. A lot of people were making tier lists. A lot of people do tier lists for like their favorite foods, or their favorite video games, their favorite movies, their favorite. I saw Cultaholic do one for their favorite wrestling belts. So that was there. I was like, people do a lot of that stuff. But the most famous one I've seen is one for mainly food, like fast food or candy or something like that. I thought, why not do a tier list for the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe? I'm sure a lot of people have done this before, but you know what? Like I said, being the completionist that I am, I wanted to talk about all the older Marvel movies that I watched. Matter of fact, some of the newer Marvel movies I didn't review either. I just didn't feel like it. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and give you all my thoughts on every single Marvel movie. As a matter of fact, on this list, they have all the Marvel movies, and also some of the shows that came on Netflix, like the Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and so on and so forth, and also the I Am Groot. But it doesn't have like the Werewolf by Night or the Guardians Christmas special. So I'll give you actually my quick thoughts on those two real quick, I guess. Werewolf by Night was very interesting. It was a cool concept. It was cool to see a movie within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which isn't, part of the main continuity of the MCU. So that was pretty cool. It had that old school horror movie vibe to it. I'm not a big horror movie fan by any stretch, but that shit was awesome. The Guardians of the Galaxy Family special, it's nothing really to it. Doesn't really do. I don't think it does much for the story, unless I don't know, Kevin Bacon is going to be involved in Guardians 3. I thought that it was a fun little Christmas special. It was very nice. It was very cute, very adorable, good stuff. It was just a nice wholesome time that we had with all our favorite characters from the Guardians of the Galaxy. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with these. I'm going to get a little sip of water. Let's begin, shall we? Now, as you can see, I have my own rankings. I have my 2 thumbs up. I have my 1 thumbs up. Obviously, they don't have anything for dub R, so I just put okay. A thumbs down and 2 thumbs down. And also, haven't watched, because yes, remember when I said I'm a big hypocrite? I talked about being a big completionist and everything, but I have not watched all of these movies. Just FYI, okay? I haven't watched every single movie and show put out there by Marvel, because let's face it, that it's just too much content, okay? So let's start off with Iron Man. Iron Man was the starting gun of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The movie that started it all. I remember renting out this movie back in 2008 when I was in high school. I actually had a couple of friends sleeping over at my house. So I decided to rent this out in Redbox. Anyone remember Redbox? Comment below. And we watched this movie and we all enjoyed it. It was a good time. Looking back at it, I think that it was definitely a lot of the action scenes. They didn't have a lot of action scenes in this movie, but whatever they had, they did a good job. So I feel like this one, I do feel like they played it safe with the first Iron Man film. I understand why they did that. But of course, in perspective, looking at some of the other films and some of the other really good films and some of the, I guess, risks that they took, In comparison to that, Iron Man gets a thumbs up. Up next, the Incredible Hulk. All I can say is it was way better than that Abomination we got back in 2003. Just for that, and also Ed Norton is a really good actor, and I'm giving it a thumbs up just for those things. And also, I guess, yeah, we got him introduced to Thunderbolt Ross, who happened to be a central character in later movies and whatnot. Then we had Iron Man 2. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I have not watched it. All these years, I never watched Iron Man 2 because, frankly, I don't know. I just didn't feel like it. Just going to be honest with you. Thor, the first Thor movie, the movie that introduced us to the son of Odin, you know? This was, of course, Chris Hemsworth, did a good job as Thor. But the thing is, I felt like there was no depth to Thor. He was just a perfect guy. He had long blonde hair, blue eyes, super tall, super handsome, super ripped. Everything that a man wants to be. He just had everything. I mean, what the worst? And he has God powers. And the worst thing that happened to him was that he lost those God powers, but he still keeps his six pack and nice hair and nice eyes and nice face. Yeah, must be hard being you. But I don't know, man. This movie, there was really nothing memorable about it for me, except for some of the memes that came out of this are fine, but I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of central plot points like the Tesseract and all that good stuff, but overall, I'm just gonna give it a dub bar, or I'm just gonna say that it was okay. Captain America, the first Avenger, kind of falls on the same boat as Thor for me. I thought it was okay. It was cool that they introduced the character of Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, but it just didn't do much for me. It really didn't. Avengers, the first Avengers movie, was actually really good. Gave us, it was cool just like having that whole kind of team come together, with Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, and of course Scarlett Johansson returning after Iron Man 2, returning to the Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow role. All good stuff here. We got our introduction to Hawkeye. This was cool. I remember watching it in theaters and having a great time. 2 thumbs up, man. I don't really have much to say. We finally did get introduced to our big bad in Thanos. Like, he was the kind of like the final boss of this entire saga, the first 3 phases. So that was really awesome. And just like that, folks, that was Marvel Phase 1. Can you believe it? Only 6 movies in the first phase. Phase 2 began with Iron Man 3. I'm going to say that it was okay. Again, didn't care for it. I think the weakest part about all Marvel movies were the villains. But this villain just was pretty generic. Like, he had fire powers or something. It didn't really do much for me. I mean, it just, I don't know, man. I mean, the last scene was cool with all his different Iron Man suits coming to life. That was awesome. I'll give you that. But other than that, it was just kind of boring, frankly. The villain was boring, and the story was pretty, wasn't really interesting for me. Didn't really care much for it. Thor: The Dark World. Honestly, I would say the first Thor was better than this one. At least the first Thor, it kind of had something for him to do. Thor: The Dark World, we didn't really get introduced to the villain. We got literally just this was just a whole lot of nothing for me. I mean, Loki, which was like the most interesting character at that time, dies in the movie. I just didn't really care for this film at all. I didn't. It was a whole lot of nothing, and it was also really, really boring. It was, and the villain was absolute garbage. Probably the worst villains that I saw, in the form of Malekith and his destroyer. Who cares? Thumbs down. It just didn't like it. I'm sorry. Then we have Captain America: The Winter Soldier, my favorite of the 3 Captain America movies that we got. Bucky was they reintroduced the Winter Soldier, had a lot of espionage, had a lot of action, had some mystery, it had everything. It was a very well made action movie. and that's what I liked about it. So, and it was very much contained within its plot, and it wasn't trying to set up other movies. Even though, yes, very much the whole idea of the MCU films is to set up other films. This one kind of said, you know what, we're gonna keep it contained within its own kind of film, and I like that about it. 2 thumbs up, man. 2 thumbs up. One of my favorite movies in the my favorite movie in the Captain America trilogy, and probably one of my favorite movies in the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Moving on to Guardians of the Galaxy. This one introduced us to a ragtag team of space outlaws. Very outlandish, very nicely done, very colorful, kind of a setup, and just giving us that, finally introducing us to the cosmic realms of of the MCU. Great stuff all around, and everybody did a great job. Chris Pratt as Star Lord was very entertaining. Zoe Saldana as the straight faced Gamora was great. Bradley Cooper's voice acting as Rocket was cool. Vin Diesel as Groot, I am Groot. Dave Bautista was very funny. This was just all around a great movie. I'm gonna give it 2 thumbs up. And by the way, this one also, my parents also enjoyed this movie too. So there you go. So yeah. Then we got Avengers: Age of Ultron. Now I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of hopes for this one. James Spader as Ultron was a very interesting choice. But I don't know, it just didn't seem to capture the magic of the first one. It introduced us to Natasha Romanoff and Pietro Romanoff, who were Scarlet Witch and not Natasha. I'm sorry, Pietro Maximoff and Natasha and Wanda Maximoff. I'm sorry. It is about 11 o'clock over here. Okay. Anyways, but overall, it was fine. Like, it was an attempt. It was Marvel's attempt to make a darker movie, but I just don't think it worked out the way that they wanted it to. So I'm gonna give this one an okay, or a dub R. Then up next, the last movie in Phase 2, Ant-Man. It was good. It didn't really, nothing to write home about. Like, Paul Rudd did a great job as Ant-Man. Very entertaining. Love seeing Michael Douglas here. Good stuff all around. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything that blew my socks off, but it was a pretty good movie. I will give it a thumbs up. And that is the end of Phase 2. All right, moving on to Phase 3, Marvel Phase 3. This was actually the first big one. This is where shit really got real. This is around the time DC announced their slate of movies, which they've rebooted for like the 50th time now. But anyway, I may have a video about that at some point. But yeah, Captain America Civil War. Now, there was a lot of hype around this movie, especially after watching the trailers and watching the airport fight scene, which was brilliant, by the way. The best scene in that whole movie. But everything else surrounding it, I could have done without. Seriously. If the entire freaking movie was just that airport scene for 2 hours, I honestly would have been fine with it. But it just didn't really... otherwise, everything else before that, I really didn't care for it, just being honest with you. But here's the thing. One sequence doesn't really mean that it's a good movie, right? And the thing is, if it weren't for that airport scene, I would actually have given this movie a thumbs down. But because that airport scene was that good, it gets bumped up to an okay for me. I think it was just okay. Doctor Strange. Our first exposure to time travel in the MCU. Benedict Cumberbatch, absolutely great performance as Stephen Strange. I think every kind of setting, and of course we had everything kind of set up for the second Doctor Strange movie, which we didn't know at that time. But Tilda Swinton was in there as, I forgot what her name was, but she also did a great job. Everyone acted really well, and the story was also really cool. It was very entertaining, a lot of fun. And of course he would eventually become a very pivotal character in the whole MCU. We're going to give Doctor Strange a thumbs up. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, you know what I do have to say, now thinking back, I'm actually going to bump Guardians of the Galaxy number 1 to a thumbs up because I'm putting Guardians 2 at 2 thumbs up. You know why? Because Guardians of the Galaxy was great. It was very interesting. It was funny. It had a lot of good moments in it, like a lot of great action sequences. But the villain was very weak, and like I said, that's something that I complain about a lot for these Marvel movies. But the villain in Guardians 2, I like the fact that he had an emotional connection with the hero, which is Peter Quill. So that was really cool, you know. Just for that, I'm bumping this guy up to for 2 thumbs up because it did everything that the first movie did right. It did right. It did what the first movie did right. It took that and then also gave it a really good villain. So I'm gonna say Guardians 2 gets 2 thumbs up, but I have to bump Guardians 1 down to just a thumbs up just because of the villain. Okay, now that I think about it, so I am doing that. So yeah, I do hope this is the only change I make. But anyway, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Spider-Man was introduced to us into the MCU via Captain America: Civil War. Again, in that airport scene, under ruse, all that good stuff. I did like. I think Tom Holland's first outing as Spider-Man was good. I mean, it was also something that felt very contained within its movie, within the movie itself, and it wasn't exactly, trying to set up other films because it just wanted to give us a good Spider-Man movie, which makes sense. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. Again, the villain was okay, but yeah, but I enjoyed it otherwise. So now we move on to Thor Ragnarok. Now Thor, as you can see, the first Thor movie got an okay. The second one got a thumbs down. And I feel like the director, I think Taika Waititi did Thor Ragnarok. He looked at both of those movies and said, you know what? We need to kind of flip the Thor franchise on its head. So it was definitely a lot more, it added a little bit more levity to the film, a little bit more lightheartedness to the movie, but also still made Thor a strong character. So it gave him a little bit more of a dimension than him just being a badass. I watched in the theater with my family, with my mom, dad, and sister as well. My mom and my dad were both cracking up. My mom especially, she does not like any of these superhero films. She's not a big fan of them. But if you were able to make my mom laugh, if you were able to make her have a good time, you did something right. Just for that, Thor Ragnarok, 2 thumbs up. My favorite Thor movie. Black Panther. I've actually since I've already done a review of it. You can go back and watch that review. I'm not going to talk too much about it. It was a good movie. It introduced us to Wakanda. Wakanda's beautiful. The suit was amazing. Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, had some great combat sequences. All around a pretty decent movie. All around a pretty good movie. Thumbs up. So I gave it an 8 out of 10. This is before I started doing this ranking. So according to that, thumbs up. Avengers Infinity War. Holy shit, this was awesome. 2 thumbs up. I've already reviewed this as well, but what more can I say except, he should have gone for the head. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Ant-Man and the Wasp. I did watch it. I forgot to review it. This was also a good movie. The Ant-Man movie was good. I'll give it a thumbs up. Especially that last scene where everyone just went with the blip, and then he's still stuck in the quantum realm. Yeah, that was some scary shit, man. That was some scary shit. Captain Marvel was boring as hell. Thumbs down. I don't care. Actually, no. 2 thumbs down. Didn't like this movie. I'm sorry. I just didn't like it. It just didn't do anything. Again, I know I say that a lot, but it really did do nothing for me. It was boring. The villains were, and the story was just, the pacing kind of sucked, Like Brie Larson was cool. She did a good job as Captain Marvel, but I didn't really care. Just Didn't care about any of this film. Avengers Endgame. Now, I'll be honest with you. I liked Avengers Infinity War more. Because Avengers Endgame, we all kind of knew the conclusion was going to be okay. They're gonna kill Thanos, but it had some amazingly epic moments, just great stuff all around. I'm gonna say 2 thumbs up for this one as well. I have reviewed this one too, so there you go. Spider-Man: Far From Home. It's another movie that I did not watch. Now, with that, we end Phase 3 of Marvel of the MCU. Now all we have is Phase 4 and all the Netflix shows. And of course I Am Groot. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do I Am Groot. It's actually just a series of shorts. And they're all very funny. And they're all very wholesome. And they're all Groot. So I am going to go ahead and say 2 thumbs up for I Am Groot. More stuff like this, please, Marvel. WandaVision. Very much enjoyed this one. I think that they had the going through all the different time periods. Starting from the 50s all the way to the 2010s. Good stuff. Very interesting stuff. Really set up a lot of things in the future. 2 thumbs up, man. 2 thumbs up. Falcon and Winter Soldier. Honestly, just felt like a downscaled version of Captain America Civil War. It was fine. Like the fights were good. U.S. agent, kind of giving us the introduction to the U.S. agent. And, eventually the Thunderbolts, I guess, is what we're going to get, because Thunderbolt Ross also made a cameo here. But everything else, it was okay. Like, honestly, some of the episodes were kind of boring. But, it was cool to see Bucky and Sam's chemistry and whatnot. But all in all, it's pretty middle of the road. It was all right. It was okay. It was the bar. Loki, on the other hand, again, continued to explore the multiverse theme and just did a great job. I mean, I think Loki probably was one of the best characters in the entire MCU. This show was very engaging, introduced us to Kang the Conqueror, who was going to be a big part in the upcoming phases of the MCU. I'm going to give it a thumbs down, 2 thumbs up. Black Widow was absolute trash, 2 thumbs down. I don't want to talk about it. Marvel's What If had a lot of potential. But the thing is, some of the later episodes kind of were meh to me. So, I'm just going to go ahead and say, like the animation was cool. They did a great job with the fight scenes and everything. I mean, that whole kind of weird ragtag Avengers team up in the end I just thought it wasn't that great. It just didn't really do much for me. So I'm going to say it was okay / the bar. Shang-Chi. Unfortunately, I heard a lot of great things about this movie. I really, really did. Unfortunately, I still haven't watched it. So I do want to watch it. Eternals. Literally watched like 10 minutes of this on Disney Plus and said, screw it. 2 thumbs down. Didn't like it. Hawkeye. I haven't watched it. I actually have no intention of watching it because I'm not a big fan of Hawkeye. He's boring. Okay? He's boring. I don't care what you say. He's boring. Spider-Man No Way Home, on the other hand, was anything but boring. It was really cool. I'm giving it a thumbs up. It was really cool to see, of course, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back. I did review this movie as well. I did a review with my good buddy Mosh. So you can go watch that. But I love this movie a lot. I would say I think I gave it 2 thumbs up. So let's put it at 2 thumbs up. I like the fact that it didn't just depend on the nostalgia, but it also gave us a decent plot line. So 2 thumbs up to Spider-Man No Way Home. Moon Knight. This was awesome. Moon Knight was freaking amazing. I loved everything about Moon Knight. I don't have any complaints. 2 thumbs up for Moon Knight. Another one that was like part of the MCU. It kind of exists in the MCU, but it's not like, it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the main continuity. So I kind of like that. So it kind of made them have to continue to have it be contained within its own show. So I loved it, and I do hope we get a season 2 of Moon Knight. And also, because I heard about Moon Knight a lot, but I really wanted to learn more about it. about Moon Knight. So yeah, Moon Knight was fantastic. If you haven't watched it, I would suggest go watch it. Every episode was interesting. Everything just every episode was intriguing to me, and I really enjoyed it, man. Especially the last 3 episodes. Not gonna lie, a little bit confusing, but it was still fun nonetheless. So I'm keeping it a 2 thumbs up. I don't care. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now this is the first movie I think I've ever seen in theaters by myself. If I ever go to a theater, I usually am going with my family or I'm going with friends. So, but this time I remember I had called and texted a bunch of my friends and they were like, "Oh, dude, I already saw the movie. Oh, I'm sorry, man, whatever." So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go there. I remember buying a ticket on my own, going to the stall, buying as much popcorn and as much soda as I wanted. And I went into the theater and I had a great time. Now, of course, now I've replaced the sodas with water because I like, again, I'm trying to look like one of these guys. I'm trying to look like these guys here. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was a very fun ride. Although I do wish, like, you know how in Loki we had like several versions of Loki, including like an alligator version. We only got like 2 or 3 other versions of Doctor Strange here. I can understand why, but I really think they could have done a little bit more with this movie. But whatever they did was really good. I love the introduction of America Chavez. I want to see how she factors into the upcoming Marvel films. So we'll see about that. But for right now, we're going to give Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness a thumbs up. And also, I think this is the first time they've used one of the people in the Avengers as like the villain of the movie. So that was pretty cool. Miss Marvel. I watched a couple of episodes and I lost interest. 2 thumbs down. Thor: Love and Thunder is an absolute is a waste of time, waste of money, waste of film, waste of the actors' time. Okay, that goes into the waste of time. Yeah, absolute waste, absolute freaking garbage, a freaking movie. You know what they did? I feel like they went to Thor Ragnarok. They said, you know why Thor Ragnarok was such a hit? It's because it had jokes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make Thor crack a joke every other line in this movie is gonna be Thor cracking a joke, and half of them, no, like 85% of them weren't even that funny. So it just got annoying after some time. Christian Bale as the villain was a very interesting idea, but it was just absolute. It just the freaking execution was just absolute garbage. This movie is utter freaking garbage. 2 thumbs down. I hated this freaking film. Same with She-Hulk. I watched 1 episode and I was like, this is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Grade A bullshit. Don't waste your time. Don't watch this. Oh my god. Wakanda Forever, I still haven't watched. I kind of don't want to just because of the things I've heard. Just didn't really care about it. Yeah, I don't know. But I might check it out just to complete the story, whatever. I mean, dude, they made my man, from what I heard, they made my man M'Baku comic relief. Like, why would you do that, man? M'Baku is freaking badass. Why don't you let him be a badass? Oh, because he's a man? Anyway, I don't want to get into that. So those are all the Marvel movies and shows in the MCU. Now let's go. Now they did, luckily, like I said, they were kind enough to include in this tier list. It is the Netflix shows are also included. So we'll do that real quick. Daredevil. I loved season 1 was great. Season 2 was okay with the introduction of the Punisher, but I wish they kind of chilled on the Elektra stuff. Season 3 was really good, and I'm really looking forward to Season 4. But I loved Daredevil. Overall, 2 thumbs up for Daredevil. And it was cool to see Charlie Cox back as Matt Murdock on Spider-Man No Way Home. That was good stuff. Jessica Jones. I loved the private eye. I loved how it was kind of like she's just a private eye with super strength. It was cool. I think it was definitely a little bit slower paced, but it was a good show nonetheless. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Luke Cage, I actually thought was okay. I didn't watch season 2 yet, but season 1 definitely a bit of a slow burn. I'm gonna say it was okay. Iron Fist. I didn't even finish Iron Fist. I'm sorry. Thumbs down. Didn't really like it. Defenders, same thing. Didn't like it. Punisher, 2 thumbs up. Is awesome. It's the freaking Punisher. He's awesome. Okay? So there you have it. This is my definitive list of all the MCU movies. Now, if you want me to go back and watch all these movies and update this tier list, I can do that for you. But, or I'll just probably, I could do that maybe at some point. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the video. That is my tier list for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I honestly was having a lot of fun making it, and maybe I would love to do more tier lists sometime in the future. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I am definitely suffering from MCU fatigue, DC fatigue. So I don't know what I'll be doing going forward when it comes to the Marvel movies and the DC movies. I might still watch them. I'll just watch them whenever I feel like it, to be frank with you. Where would you rank these movies? Maybe if you want to send me a screenshot of your tier lists, go ahead. This is what I liked. This is just my opinion. So, this is what it is. Let me know if there's any other tier lists you would like me to make, and I will be sure to do it in the future. But this was a lot of fun to do. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But until next time, thank you for watching. Thank you for your continued support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media and tell your friends about the Nerdy Mark. I love each and every one of you that watches my videos. And, of course, I love each and every one of you that interacts with me. So, with that in mind, this is Sid signing off. You guys take care. Bye-bye.